Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Porter's Product Marketing Podcast. I'm excited today to talk to you a little bit about how we deliver amazing content with not just AI, but actual humans. And there's no one better to talk about that than my buddy Mark Ferrone. We work together at Google and love to have him on the show today. Mark is an event marketing leader and a content strategist at Google Cloud, where he helps enterprise customers understand and adopt cutting edge AI, data, and cloud technologies. With extensive experience in go to market strategy, messaging, and positioning, Mark specializes in translating complex technical capabilities into compelling customer value. He has a proven track record of enabling sales, driving adoption, and leading cross functional teams to deliver impactful launches that resonate across industries and global markets. Mark, welcome to the show.
Hey Josh, thanks for having me. It's great to see you again, and it's great to be on your show to talk about things we like to talk about, which is how to get speakers ready for big events. And what I wanted to talk about today were when you tell the product story, what are 5 things that AI cannot do yet? And I think there's a lot of people asking like how AI is going to get involved in content development, but let's talk about what AI can't do and how important the human interaction is going to be.
Love it. Love it. Well, then let's dive into the questions that hit on those 5 points. So, the first one being about how do you see the role of AI evolving in content creation as speakers prepare?
I think most speakers should start with AI in terms of understanding the audiences of the events they're going to be at, understanding the prevailing trends or what other peoples are speaking about at those things. And AI, Gemini, we use Gemini, but it really does a nice consolidation and does a quick survey about what everything that's happening in industry trends. So I still think there's going to be an important role for speakers to start their process of story development using AI for some of that research.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being able to get that research and understanding of who you're talking to is important. But again, at the end of the day, this is a human speaking to an audience. And so the AI is going to help you get the understanding and information, but it's not going to deliver it for you.
That's right. That's
Um,
right.
They're definitely helpful. All right, next question is, can you elaborate on this idea of what a speaker discovery session is in preparation for a speaking event?
Yeah, so if we want to talk about the 5 things that I think AI cannot do yet, one is making the most of your discovery session. Likely you'll get a brief about why you're speaking at a certain event, what the audience is going to expect from you, what are the key things that the audience want from that event. Those things might come in the form of a briefing doc, but you will, as a speaker, as an expert speaker, have the opportunity to speak with somebody from that event or whoever's trying to get you to go to that event. In that human interaction moment, you have time to ask specific quality questions to the person inviting you, getting a little color from them to articulate what is going to excite the audience or inspire that audience. I think those 2 critical things, when someone sits down and invites you to that session or that event, that's a perfect moment to get color from another human about why that event's going to be important for you to show up and speak there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to be able to have that kind of understanding of those personal experiences to really tell stories. And I think that's, you got to have you have to have that in preparation for when you're going to deliver a presentation to an audience. So definitely makes sense. And you would definitely want to kind of understand and get that all ready before the event. And you do such a good job of ushering customers through that process.
Yes, and that leads us to kind of the second thing I think that AI may not be able to do well, which is helping a speaker identify an example from their life. Uh, when you connect with audiences in big conferences, a good strategy is to always try to put them in your shoes by bringing up a story from your own life and how you maybe have used the product that you're selling, um, maybe how you've gone through and did some transformation with the product, and giving those personal anecdotes from your life. And there's some techniques on how to go back in your own life to check. And one might be going back to your first job or going back to a fun project you worked on, or maybe even going back to grade school or high school when you did a fun project and you could bring people back to your personal life. So those, unless you data dump your whole memory into an AI model, you're not really going to get, you're not going to get AI to kind of spring to you. But some of the things from AI tools can maybe trigger your memory. So those are some other things that we were thinking about and helping speakers.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that's not quite a capability yet for AI, at least that I'm aware of, to be able to do a whole memory dump into some model. But
We might get there someday, with
sure it
drones.
will. I'm sure it will. But for now, I that is absolutely true. Your anecdotes, your personal experiences, are something that it cannot replicate, and that is what actually does connect with people. And so when you interject those as part of your presentation, as part of your story, that definitely connects with people better. So I think you're right on when trying to say, you know what, AI can do things and it can trigger some memories, but it's not going to give you the memories. You have those memories. You're the ultimate source of
That's
information.
right. And it's funny because those are the things that are really going to connect with the audience there. Is you're trying to put them into your mind and put them into a story where you were and something you experienced and a challenge you faced or a cool product you did or this is how you do the demo and when you write the code, do it this way. Um, those are some of the things I think in connecting with that audience to inspire them. Those stories are the magic of the talk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, next question is about uh, how do you approach identifying and crafting compelling personal stories that resonate with all kinds of audiences that are clearly pretty diverse in a lot of these events, and especially when you're talking about complex technical products.
Yeah, so I think you can kind of start to categorize them into different areas of the kind of story you want to tell for that. Um, is it an inspiring moment? Is it a leadership moment? Is it a how-to moment? And then once you kind of categorize that topic into those dimensions, you could start to pull from your life. And do you want to do it recently? For example, say you've worked through multiple industries, but your audience is a financial industry. Well, there you're going to have to choose a financial industry example, for instance. And we've seen that and that gets back to the discovery session is who's coming to that presentation that you're delivering and who the audience is. So once you connect that piece from the discovery session, you could start to dive into how and what kind of story you could develop.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's really about kind of doing the practice, is really what I think you're really trying to say, right?
Yes, I think when you start to once you identify the story, then you have to get into rehearsing the talk. Again, there are some AI tools where you can rehearse into a video. It could count your ums and ahs, maybe like a Toastmasters used to do. But
Mm-hmm.
I think you can't physically have AI rehearse the talk for you. You actually have to sit down and plan 3 to 4 rehearsals of your session and do that rehearsal. So that's a physical human element. You could invite some of friendlies, say from your peer group, who may represent some of the audience to kind of watch you and get critiqued by them. We always favor that when we work at Google. We do rehearsals and people can come and watch them. So that's a good strategy.
Yeah, yeah. It's so interesting because yeah, there are some good tools out there to kind of for AI to give you feedback on, giving a presentation or doing some kind of education, but that's never going to replace just a human to human feedback loop. Especially when you're delivering ultimately content to a audience of humans, and so it's just having that human to human feedback loop, which I think is still really important. The AI is not there yet, and maybe it will at some point, but it's not there today.
Yeah, I mean, there's something critical when you harness the energy in the room. And
Mm-hmm.
that's super difficult to rehearse that. And the best
Yeah.
way to rehearse that is inviting people that know you, and that feel your energy, and you can kind of create that or simulate that energy in a call like this, for instance, where we're playing off each other. But you have to bring them to the table, and you have to physically rehearse with them. And maybe the AI can do a one-on-one, but having those people in the room on this call with you is something that you need to try to simulate, because when you get there, you're going to face 300 people or 5,000 people, and that's completely different than just sitting in front of a screen by yourself with the AI tool.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like a tennis match. You have to have
Yeah,
someone else responding and hitting back. Uh, case in point, that's what you and I did before this podcast.
exactly. Well,
So
yeah, and it's especially important once you pick stories and anecdotes from your life, and maybe they're funny, or maybe you're trying to be funny, but how do you know you're funny unless you bring people in peer group and have that human group around to rehearse with? I think a lot of people, a lot of expert speakers, undervalue the ability to just sit and rehearse a session. Unfortunately, it's because everyone's busy. That's not their first job presenting. So they get busy. They don't set up a time to rehearse with a bunch of people, and they might miss the mark on it. And then they use the time in the room to see if that joke lands, and it doesn't. And we've all seen examples of when it doesn't. So
yeah,
don't be that person.
absolutely. There's one thing you take away from this podcast: don't be that person that gives a
Yeah,
joke that doesn't land.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. So the next question is: what are some of the most effective rehearsal strategies that you've seen, and how do you build confidence when facing pressure at a large event?
Well, I think one important rehearsal strategy is investing in a speaker coach or
Hmm.
engaging in a speaker coach. Now, this is a little different than inviting a peer group to kind of critique you, but a speaker coach is someone who basically deals with the art and science of presentation. They could tell you to put your shoulders back. They can tell you how to breathe. There's some stage presence. There's some way to articulate, ways to slow down. Maybe what you wrote in your script looks good as you read it, but it doesn't sound good when you say it. Um, Maybe you're trying to create too many words to say something. Maybe there's a more simpler way to say it. But having a few speaker coach sessions, maybe before you have your big group together, it's certainly something we do at Google. For our executives, we invest in speaker coaching as part of the regiment and rehearsal regiment. They do it as a group, and then they do it one-on-one. It's super valuable, and as long as I've been doing events, it even goes back to when I was part of a PR team supporting a CEO for pre-earnings. They would do a speaker coaching session before each quarter, uh, even though he's the most prolific, well-oriented, great speaker. So it's not to be underestimated having a great speaker coach and then rehearsing in person with them.
Yeah, and that's important to have an expert opinion on speaking. And so, yes, having peers is great, but then when you have somebody who does this day in and day out, they're definitely going to help you up level your game. And so, it's nice to do that. And of course, you and I did that previous to this too as well. And so, it's a nice tool to have when you're trying to up level how you do the delivery, because you can have great content and you can have great anecdotes, you can have stories from your personal life, but if you're not delivering it well in a way that's compelling to the audience, then it might just fall flat.
Well, I remember, I mean, you were really good at, I remember when you brought the customers to Google Cloud Next, in your role as a customer reference marketer and product marketer, you were really good at prepping them. And we didn't really know if they had speaker coaching. So we
Yeah,
would kind of have to play that role a little bit. And I think when you invite someone else into your presentation, if you own it and you're going to have multiple speakers, maybe invest in having them do speaker coaching as well.
absolutely, absolutely. And either having an expert at it or using some of the best practices that you've seen with customers that you're working with is always just going to make a better content and better delivery.
Yeah. So I think that's the fourth thing, is having a great speaker coach. And I think one more human aspect that we could talk about is the chemistry that they create with the production team that's helping them.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me more about that.
Excuse me. So I think when we're talking about speakers in the setting and product marketing and technology, we're talking about executives or experts who are working on something that know a lot about something and they're thought leaders. They're not like they're not a famous celebrity that
Uh-huh.
there's a big contract for and that's all set up. So it's a little different. So the speakers and if you're an expert and you're coming in, there's typically a whole team, a production team on site to make sure that you are going to deliver very successfully. They often call you talent
Yeah.
as a speaker. You're an expert, but they call you talent, and they're going to do everything to make your life exciting and perfect so that you deliver and focus on your craft. Now, one thing is we say contribute to a good high performance team is that you're part of that team.
Mhm.
And so feel relaxed and take faith and stock and support them as the experts they are. In some cases, if a speaker tends to be a little, how would you call it, like a diva, that might create a problem.
Uh-huh.
But we don't often have that in some tech circles. There are divas, but one lesson might be just don't be a diva and support the team, the humans that are going to be on site to make you successful.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think yeah, sometimes you might have to worry about some people that might be high maintenance, but I think is most of the time someone's going to be coachable and humble, then it'll be a better experience for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's the key as a speaker, as an expert, if you're going to a show, is be open to feedback. Um, these people they're not here to make you look bad, they're here to make you look great.
Hmm.
So be open to feedback. Don't necessarily assume you know everything. You're kind of in their world when you come and present at a stage. If you're rehearsing before the real show, ask questions, be open-minded, be relaxed, and let those experts do their job the way they're trained to do.
Yeah, I like what you said. They're not there to help make you look bad. They're actually there to help you make you look good. So
Yeah.
that's a good way to kind of think about that.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't want to say is like no one's really above the prep that's required.
Uh,
Because there's so many, even though a lot of these people have done it so many times, each time they present at a new show, a new conference, it's still a new time and it's completely different set of factors that could happen. The different audience. It's the future. So you can't always assume it's going to go like you did in the past. Treat it like a net new thing. It's kind of like climbing a mountain. You don't never know what the weather's going to do, even though you've done it 10 times.
yeah,
So you got to prepare.
no, that's a good analogy. All right. Next question is about a specific example. We're talking about all these anecdotes, right? So, can you tell me about a time when you saw a strong relationship with the production team really enhance the speaker's presentation or even just help them overcome a challenge during an event?
Oh yeah, so we had this one customer situation where the customers were going to do a customer innovation talk, and the role of the customer was to give a 10-minute talk about something they used our technology and were successful at doing. And we had a very successful PhD scientist from a well-known oil and gas company that was essentially an hour before was refusing to go on stage as part of their talk, and we had scheduled them. And so we had to get the speaker relaxed. They were kind of having an anxietal moment, which was understandable because they weren't as comfortable speaking in person. So we all gave them space, got them comfortable, had them rehearse their talk with just one speaker coach at the time. In this case, it was me helping them, and directed their attention towards their craft, their knowledge, and not the whole apparatus. That was very intimidating. Um, and we're able to get them to be successful by just focusing on what they know well. So part of it is it's very intimidating if you've ever walked on a set and there's all these lights, it's hot, you have all these people around and just a little square that is facing them. In this case, you have a big audience as well. So there's a lot that can be intimidating for people that aren't used to it. So, but we all got around and then supported that speaker because we all had good communication skills. So communication, helping them feel relaxed, helping them focus on their craft. Those are the kind of the three things I would recommend.
That's great. And I think if I remember correctly, the biggest problem with public speaking that people have is the fear of not knowing what they're talking about. And so I love that you are in that particular story. That's exactly what you hit on, is focusing on what the person knew and reassuring them the reason you're here is that because you're an expert in this particular area. So you know exactly what to talk about. And then kind of the rest can follow from there. We're just there to help you with the to put a bow on it, essentially. So
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. You say no one knows as much about this topic as you, and that's why you're here. And we'll fix all this other stuff. But again, I think more rehearsal gets those nerves out, and even the nerves that you have help you bring that energy into the discussion. So nerves often help the discussion if they're channeled correctly.
yeah, I like that because yeah, stress. All stress is not bad because some stress that helps you to do a good thing. I think the old terms were like there was eustress, which was kind of a good stress, and then de-stress, obviously bad stress. And so I think what you're saying is that use that eustress, use that good energy and nerves to be at your best self, but also make it, use it in a way so that it's you're delivering good product and people can feel your energy. So I think
Yes.
it's great advice.
Yes. I always say start a presentation, start on the exhale, you know.
That's a good one. A good one.
It's
I
like
like.
your air is your fuel, right? If you
Yeah,
start on if you start on an inhale, you don't have any air to start the conversation. So
yeah.
that's one trick I always say before people start. It's a fun thing to do.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. All right, Mark. Wow, this has been such a master class in how you can help prepare content for speaker situations and get to do it without AI. And
Yes. Well,
do it in a way that actually brings some human element to it. So really appreciate those insights. And now we're going to move to our traditional rapid fire round where I'm going to ask you a few questions that I've asked all our guests and love to hear your opinions because I get different opinions each time I ask. So are you
okay.
ready for this?
Ready for this?
Awesome. Favorite marketing tool?
Gemini Deep Research, you could actually create reports that you can have more reading to. So
Mm,
AI is not to replace reading, it's to create more reading. But I love Gemini Deep Research. It's super cool. Can make like a Gartner report for yourself. It's pretty cool.
yeah, that's good. That's definitely good. And sometimes people might not like the additional reading, but
That's
if you
true.
want if you want the additional details, then that's good. So
Well,
no, I
yeah,
hear
it's
you.
like your curiosity. Let your curiosity run and create
Exactly.
more reading.
Exactly. There's AI out there for summarization, and there's also AI out there for expansion. So there
Yes.
you go. All right. Next question is: what's the most underrated skill in product marketing?
I think writing. Well, now that we have writing tools, of course,
Right.
well, people are going to have to remember what good writing is, even if they're getting AI to write for them. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's the foundation of a lot of what product marketing is. Because you're going to be writing blogs and emails. You're going to be writing content for presentations, like we're talking about here. You'll be writing scripts for demos, for videos. So yes, I think that's definitely something that isn't necessarily always highlighted, but definitely a underrated skill.
yeah, I mean, the MMRs that used to do monthly marketing reviews, they kind of summarize the activities for that, or a campaign brief or a marketing brief. Those still need to have good writing, concise, clear, and you can actually use that with an AI tool too. Create some
Absolutely,
content out of it.
absolutely. Next question is: what's the biggest mistake to avoid in product marketing?
As you know, buzzword bingo. Like,
Mhm.
don't use overwords. Don't overhype. Be direct. Be simple with language. I think that's a common mistake. People get excited about their stuff and they want to inflate it with buzzwords.
Yeah, and then the thing is, because they're buzzwords, they kind of lose their value because people hear it again and again and again, and then it's not novel and people gloss over it. So yeah, I think that's I like that. I like the way you put that though. Buzzword being.
Yeah.
What's one thing you wish you knew when you started?
Well, I luckily early on I did this, but I think every product marketer or anyone in marketing should have at least 10 sales relationships with salespeople that they
Hmm.
can find out what's going on with the customer. Because well, we launch X, but the customer's still buying Y.
Yes,
And so it's good to understand the rationale for that as you develop content for events or for campaigns or for thought leadership. So having really good sales person relationships is important.
absolutely. I think that's I'm 100% with you on that because as a product marketer and any general marketing function is understanding the audience is your basic function, basic tool, basic uh, way to reach that audience. And so the best way to do that, especially in B2B SaaS, is talking to the sales reps because they're the people that are the closest with those customers. So I'm 100% with you on that.
Yeah, it's always fun to get really good color because they're the ones really helping drive demand for the company. I
Yeah.
mean, driving revenue for the company. Marketing
Yeah.
drives demand. They drive
Yeah.
sales.
Exactly. Well put. Well put. All right. And then the last rapid fire question. What's your favorite podcast?
I like the Huberman Labs, just talking
Yeah.
about health and science around health. Yeah, that's usually one I like to go to.
Yeah, I've listened to that on occasion too. And it has helped me understand certain conditions that I should have known probably a little bit better in the past. And so I think that's, yeah, definitely very educational for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for our questions today. Mark, thank you so much again for being on the podcast. Your insights about creating good content, but also having the human element in terms of preparing that content for events was super, super valuable. And I really think that our audience here will be very appreciative of the way that you've been able to share your experience on how you've helped speakers prepare for events.
You're welcome, Josh. Thanks for being here. And don't forget how important your team is as you develop content for your events.
Absolutely. Well, and to everyone here listening to the podcast, thank you for joining for yet another episode. Look forward to more episodes coming up, and we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast.